All right, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us at the Happening Travel Club's Next Stop to Adventure. My name is David. I'm the Senior Travel Advisor for the Happening Travel Club. If you've called, you've probably spoken to me on the phone. I'm joined today by Al Ferguson, who is one of our volunteer escorts for our trips. He is a very experienced world traveler, and he is great to have as one of our volunteer guides because he has been everywhere and knows about everything. Um, we are a charity organization, so we appreciate our volunteers who help us on our trip and also our vendors who help us with our costs on our trip to give us these amazing trips at a great price. So during today's meeting, as I am managing the stream contents, I will let Al take over. If you are with us live in the Google Meet, you'll be able to ask questions at the end of the presentation. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can type in your questions. Otherwise, if you're watching after the fact, you can contact us at our email or phone number with any questions you may have. So thank you so much, Al. I'm going to let you take over.
Well, thank you, David. I'm happy to do this for you and the Happening Travel Club. As David explained, this is basically a talking presentation about the trip, and it gives you some explanation detail about what to experience on a Panama Canal cruise on this ship and ports that it goes to. We're doing this live. I always like to explain that. We're doing it live, of conversation between David and I about the trip. And then you will be able to, the vast majority, there are thousands of people will watch this in streaming. They'll watch it later after the fact. It will be on the main page that the travel club does for this trip, and you can see it on their YouTube page. So we do this to be able to, over the course of months, coming months, for people to be able to learn more about the trip. And that's what we are doing here in this conversation between the two of us. So this is a live conversation that we are having. It's not a prepared marketing presentation. It's not that at all. So, as David said, I have escorted all over the world. I've been to 148 countries. I'm not going to make 149 in 2026, but perhaps in 2027. It gets harder and harder. I have escorted to more than 100 countries. I've been through the Panama Canal probably 8 to 10 times, full transits, partial transits. It's unique in all of the world. Some people talk about the Suez. The Suez is nothing compared to the Panama Canal, and it's quite an interesting journey, which I'm going to tell you about in this presentation today. All right, David. Next, we're talking about a cruise that is very unusual. First off, you never see the word Biloxi and Panama Canal together. It's so strange. It just jumps right off the page. I've been through the canal and escorted groups on Princess, on Holland, on Carnival. I have done Carnival a couple of times in different ways, in crossing also Royal and also Celebrity. Never ever done a Panama Canal with Biloxi included in it, and it's included for a very special reason. So this is on the Carnival Spirit. If you have not been on Carnival cruises, the Carnival Spirit class, which is the class of ship that started in the early 21st century, Carnival Spirit really launched them. And a lot of people do not realize that Carnival is the most successful cruise company in the world. And largely that is not because of Princess and Holland and Cunard. It is because of Carnival. And they really, Holland America is in the group too. Carnival reinvented themselves, and the Carnival Spirit was a class of ship of which they have many of the same platform, meaning the same ship, and Carnival Spirit was the first. And it was just wildly popular and successful and beneficial for them financially, and it just led to many different things. I have done the Carnival Spirit in many different places in North America, but especially Alaska. That's their principal ship for the past 20 years in Alaska. And that's how I know the Carnival Spirit the most. So to see Panama Canal and Biloxi in the same sentence with Carnival Spirit is just so strange, but you're going to, in this presentation, learn why that's so great for you. The departure in 2027 is March 28 to April 16. And that's what the itinerary does. This is a repositioning cruise, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, from Biloxi, Mississippi through the canal. You'll come in the eastern gate of the canal on the Atlantic side. You'll go the 3 locks of the canal. You'll sail under the Bridge of Americas, and you will sail out into the Pacific side, then up the west coast of Mexico and the United States to Seattle. So that's what this itinerary does. Next. It's 20 days. It's a long journey. The price value is amazing. $13.99. All of the travel club pricing for trips that include cruises always show the first lead inside cabin, but they offer every cabin category on the ship, including, of course, outsides and balconies, suites, everything that's available. And also, if you are taking a cruise tour with the travel club, any benefits that you qualify for is past passenger, which might include onboard credits or dining things or Wi-Fi, whatever it is. All you have to do is share that information with the Happening Travel Club, and you'll qualify for it just like if you were booking it individually. This includes all the government taxes and fees, $70 a day for a Panama Canal cruise. Now, first things first, this is why this is a great cruise to take with Carnival. Carnival is not the natural choice for me in cruising. I'm a very big fan of Celebrity. I have escorted cruise tours on Celebrity, the most on Holland America and Princess, which are also Carnival companies, by the way. Princess, Holland, Carnival, Cunard, Costa, all in this group. Carnival would not be among my first choices. And the reason, it's not because of food, it's not because of service, it's not because of the quality of the ships, it's because of the passengers that are on the ship. And no disrespect to passengers on the ship, but Carnival attracts a lot of family and children. They just do. And so if you're in the villages, for example, unless you're doing a special thing for your grandchildren or something like that, generally my friends at the villages don't want to cruise with lots and lots and lots of children. And there can be a significant number of children and families with children on a Carnival cruise. Now, the first thing that jumps off the page at you when you're looking at this is 20 days. Immediately, Al goes, change your thinking, because it's not the Carnival you're thinking. And the reason is because this is a repositioning cruise. And the repositioning cruise is a long cruise from Biloxi, Mississippi, through the Caribbean, through the Canal, up the west coast of Mexico and the United States. And do 13-year-old kids want to do this as their dream destination for a cruise through the Panama Canal? No. Do parents want to bring their children on a very long cruise like this to the Panama Canal? No. So as a result, I can tell you already next spring, this cruise on the Carnival Spirit, 85% of the passengers on this cruise are going to be just like the members at the Happening Travel Club. They live in the villages or something like the villages all over America. That's who is attracted to this itinerary. So I draw attention to the fact that this is a unique cruise for you, and don't let the Carnival Spirit name kind of trick you out of it, because it's absolutely fantastic. And Carnival will do everything in this special, what they call Carnival journey, because of the older nature of the passenger base on this cruise. It's a one-time sailing. Now, second big thing before we even get into the itinerary that is so important. I tell well-traveled people all of the time, you've got to take a transatlantic cruise. And I have friends that take 2 transatlantic cruises every single year. They take transatlantic cruises twice in a year. When do transatlantic cruises happen? In the spring and in the fall. And what's happening? In the spring, ships are leaving Florida or the Gulf, the Atlantic ports basically, and they're sailing mostly to Europe. Why do they do that? Well, a cruise out of Miami in June gets $4, while a cruise from Barcelona, London, Rome, Naples, Venice gets $8. The cost of cruising significantly increases in Europe because of their peak season. And in Florida, we go into our low season. So as a result, a strategy of a cruise line is to move the ship because they make much more money on premium destinations at premium times. The value for us as travel club members and for people living in the villages and like places like the villages is the cruise line must move the ship. They must. They have no choice. They want to go on a transatlantic cruise and have May, June, July, September, at least 5 months, maybe 6 months in a premium destination, not in Florida. So as a result, they bite the bullet to move the ship. It might take 13, 14, 15, 16 days to do it, but it's still highly worthwhile. And what happens when they must move the ship? It means they're giving lots of discounts. And that's what happens on a repositioning cruise to transatlantic. This cruise is just like that. Princess has a Panama Canal, Trans-Panama Canal cruise that moves back and forth from Fort Lauderdale to San Diego or Los Angeles, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That is not a repositioning cruise. It is dedicated to the Panama Canal. That's not what you're looking at here. The Carnival Spirit is in Mobile throughout the entire winter. And forgive me, because I'm from the South too, the Redneck Riviera has its closest ship being in Mobile, Alabama, the Carnival Spirit. So they're attracted to 3, 4, and 7-day Caribbean cruises out of Mobile because they live in Alabama or Mississippi or perhaps Western Tennessee, etc., the panhandle of Florida. The ship is very successful through the winter. Then it's super successful in the summer. The Carnival Spirit doing Alaska in June, July, August, September, the first, about to the middle of September. And as a result, this cruise you're looking at is just like those transatlantics. The cruise for them is not this one. This one they must do. It's a repositioning cruise to move the ship to better waters, more money, better ground. And that's why this cruise exists. So the second note that I make to anyone that looks at this itinerary is you're making a great choice, because this cruise is not even like sailing out of Miami or Fort Lauderdale. You're sailing out of Mobile, Alabama. Unheard of to go through the Panama Canal. And as a result, that's why this cruise is so long. It's not a broken up cruise where you can do it in pieces. This is the whole thing. Carnival's getting the whole cruise in, Mobile all the way to Seattle, from their premium destination in the Redneck Riviera, forgive me, it's tongue in cheek, to Alaska in Seattle, and they're doing it in one fell swoop. Only one cruise next spring that does this. And then they'll do it one more time in 2027. Guess when? When they come out of Alaska and they come back to Mobile. So the cruise is actually done only 2 times next year. What's the benefit of that? Well, longer cruise, you're getting passengers that you're going to enjoy sailing with. Second, you're going to get outstanding value. And that's what the first sentence tells you. 20 days, no children, $13.99, outstanding value for Panama Canal. Most people are not like me and have done the Panama Canal many times. I've done it because I'm doing it with friends and family and groups as I escort. But at the end of the day, those are the 2 reasons that you do this trip. Next. Of course, the cruise tour is escorted, a unique feature on Happening Travel Club trips. Next. It includes first-class hotel accommodations. Now, in this instance, there's not hotel accommodation. Well, the hotel accommodation note here is for Seattle. When the ship arrives in Seattle, you'll dock at Alaskan Way. That's actually what it's called in downtown Seattle, where the ship will be. And you have a choice of 3-star or 4-star hotel. The 3-star hotel is in Reston, which is about 20 minutes south of downtown. Very good brand. I like the Sonesta chain very much. It's included in your stay, or you can upgrade to a very good Hampton downtown Seattle for just $99. And I will tell you the value of the upgrade. The Travel Club does a lot of this, of giving you choice of accommodations, 3-star and 4-star accommodations. Here, the Sonesta and the Hampton are very, you can read reviews on them. Both of these hotels have excellent reviews, but there's not significant difference between the two hotels except where they're located. And the Hampton is just minutes from the Space Needle, from Pike's Market, from Alaskan Way, where the ships are, and all of the interesting attractions and sites in downtown Seattle. So the 4-star, or the upgrade rather, not 4-star, the upgrade is why it's valuable if you look at the Hampton in downtown. Next. Comprehensive sightseeing in Seattle is included. On this post stay, everything is included turnkey. What will happen when the ship arrives in Seattle is you will be transferred from the ship to your hotel. You will stay 2 nights in Seattle, and sightseeing is done on the next day in Seattle, the guided sightseeing tour of Seattle. And then on day 3, which is day 20 of this trip, private transfers are included from your hotel to the SeaTac airport. So it's completely turnkey on the post stay in Seattle. It makes it a nice bonus. You're there, you're close, and the Travel Club's able to do it in very good value. So it becomes worthwhile. Next. Of course, all of your transportation is included. You'll notice here, and this is really unheard of, it includes transfers from the Villages and Ocala to Mobile boarding the ship. And so you have the ability, your transportation is included, as is in Seattle. Next. Another big, nice feature of the Happening Travel Club's cruise tours is their social media program. You'll have at least 1, probably 2 social media, social meetings, not media, sorry, in the Villages. And what will happen is you will be able to meet the escort. The Travel Club has a number of escorts that are here in the Villages and in other locations. You will meet the escort, but most important, you'll meet other passengers and guests that are traveling on the trip. The Travel Club does this and is committed because of its nonprofit nature as an educational organization to give the opportunity for guests to meet each other in advance. I am escorting, for example, next Tuesday, a week, I leave for the Washington America's 350, and there's 52 full tour on it. We're having dinner tomorrow night here in the Villages, where all of the passengers get together and meet. It will be the second meeting that we've had on the trip, where everybody gets to meet each other and where they live and where they're from and their experiences in life, etc., to be able to create that kind of camaraderie of traveling together. It makes the experience better, and this trip will also do that in terms of having social meetings. Next. Of course, membership in the Travel Club, very beneficial. Not only is it a nonprofit and it can do things that other selections of kinds of things that you see they can't do. That social meetings, for example, is not something you see from travel agencies or bus companies that a nonprofit can do from an educational standpoint. You must be a member of the Travel Club to travel on this trip. And the second thing is you have a great insider rewards program when you make individual reservations. This trip is not that because it's a special group for the Travel Club. But when you make individual reservations on cruises and tours, all you have to do is indicate that your travel professional handling it is the Happening Travel Club, and you earn $5 for every $100 that you spend. So whatever it is that you spend, it does not affect any of your incentive benefits with the cruise lines. It doesn't affect rewards that they give you. Whatever it is, it's all exactly the same, and you earn $5 for every $100 that you do. So you should look at that QR code that's sitting there. All you have to do is put your phone in front of it, and a yellow sentence will come up. All you have to do is touch it, and it'll take you right into the page about membership benefits. Next. All right, so can I see day 2, David? Just making sure that I'm clear. Yeah, on this, not completely clear here, but so I want to clarify this a little. This unique itinerary departing from Mobile actually does a pre-night tour in Biloxi, and you stay at a 4-star hotel, the IP Hotel. IP Biloxi. It's a 4-star hotel, has about 1,000 rooms. It's directly on Biloxi Bay. Beautiful hotel. It's 32 stories tall, has 7 restaurants. It has 5 lounges, has a 1,300 seat performance theater in it. Great hotel, 4-star. It has a 4-star and a 3-star restaurant from AAA in the hotel. Very unusual. It is a nice way to start this cruise because you're going over to Biloxi, Mobile, which is unusual for a Panama Canal cruise. So on day 1, the transfers are included to Biloxi, and you overnight. So this is not a strenuous day in terms of boarding the ship even. It's actually even an easier day than if you were boarding the ship in Miami, because your hotel accommodations, your escort, and your transportation are all included. And that's what you do on day 1. Then on day 2, you will travel to Mobile. It's only about 45 minutes from your hotel to the pier in Mobile and board. And frankly, the travel club made the decision of where would be a more fun place to stay, Mobile or Biloxi, and Biloxi won. And the IP Hotel is a great place because even with just the single one night, you could see a show, you can play in the casino, there's great food, you could go to the Beau Rivage, lots of things to do on the first overnight. And then on day 2, very easy midday transfer directly to the Carnival Spirit and boarding the ship. The Carnival Spirit is an outstanding class. I like it. Royal has announced the new ship that is 6,000 plus passengers. Bigger is getting more commonplace and better. MSC introduced last fall a World America, which is 6,000 passengers. They're in the neighborhood of about 225 to 40,000 tons. They're growing and growing. And that is because they're getting smaller and smaller on the inside. They're doing more restaurants and more specialty restaurants and more specialty themes aboard the ship. The Carnival Spirit was before that big demand. When the Carnival Spirit came out, it was one of the largest in the world, sitting in the neighborhood of 120,000 tons. It's a good class because it's not huge and it's not small. And depending on which you like, I think the Carnival Spirit does that very nicely. And so on day 2, you sail from Mobile, Alabama. And again, I point out to you the uniqueness of this cruise is because you're doing a long cruise via the Panama Canal all the way to Seattle. That means on this ship, when you're looking at it, you can pull out your magnifying glass and see if you can find an 8-year-old, and you won't. Literally in my joke. And because it's going from Mobile, you're going to get great value. Next. Days there are at sea. I am still one. I really love transatlantic cruises because I do like the days at sea. I have friends sometimes that say, oh, it's so many days at sea. And I always point out to them, compared to what? What hotel are you going to stay in that is as great and as inclusive as a good cruise ship. And so the days at sea are like staying in a great hotel. And as a result, you do what you want, but they're going to keep you entertained. They're going to have the shows. They're going to have huge varieties of different choices for food and dining, and classes and films and all of the other kinds of things that we have grown accustomed to. It's the number one cruise, or it's the number one vacation choice of our age group. A cruise is number one choice. Every poll says that, and the reason is because the ship and being aboard the ship is great. It gets you to places, but you also have these fantastic days at sea. Next. Day 6 goes to Cartagena. Cartagena is my favorite South America port. Cartagena is in Colombia, very historic. I love this picture in the upper left that the Travel Club has pictured. Cartagena is a 500-year-old city. It is one of the major anchors of the conquistadors and of Spain 500 years ago, as they were beginning to develop and search for the Incas and all of the gold. But you can see in the background also it is a very modern city. The Cartagena that most people enjoy is on the island in the colonial fashion. It's not the big economic portions of the city, and quite beautiful. Sightseeing and the walking in Cartagena in the old colonial streets is beautiful. Dining is excellent. For a short excursion, there's multiple choices of different kinds of sightseeing that you can do. But above all else, Cartagena is a great city where you can walk from your ship right into the old colonial sections, great restaurants, great shopping. This is an excellent port of call, always my favorite in northern South America. Next. Then we enter the Panama Canal. Now, the Panama Canal has not lost its luster or wonder. It is still so incredibly important. When we talked about early last year about the stuff that was going on about the Panama Canal and us taking it back, and President Carter giving it to the Panamanians, the canal is of super importance in the modern world. And the reason is it's the only way to connect the two major trade empires on this planet. One in the Pacific is China. The other in the Atlantic, it's not Europe, it's the United States. Miami's the number one. Jacksonville, I think, is number 4. Fort Lauderdale, I think, is number 7. And along the east coast of the United States, the economic ports in the United States on the east coast and then in China are connected by this canal. It is just too prohibitively the cost is too high to sail around the southern tip of South America. So the shortcut is through the Panama Canal. Doug, in the first part of the 19th century, tens of thousands of Panamanians and many Americans too died in the construction of this canal, and it was considered in its opening the archaeological wonder of the world in terms of the uniqueness of the Panama Canal. Now, when you go through the Panama Canal, you enter on the Atlantic side. There's a port there called Colón. It's the second largest city in Panama. Panama City, about 75% of everybody in the country of Panama lives in the capital of Panama City. So Colón is still a relatively small town. Comes in on the Atlantic, and you're going to do 3 sets of locks through the Panama Canal. And the Panama Canal has east direction traffic and west direction traffic. And in all 3 of the locks, very likely you're going to have a ship next to you. Probably not a cruise ship, but a tanker or a ship moving cargo, an MSC or a Maersk ship. When you enter the canal locks, you are entering at the water level. And as you know, when you go across on the Panama Canal, think about it just like going across the Rocky Mountains from Colorado to Nevada and California. You cross a continental divide. One part is higher, one part is lower. Well, at 60 miles across the Panama Canal with no mountains, the same thing happens. You cross a continental divide that's only 15 feet tall. But that's what happens. And 15 feet for the water levels are significant. And so as a result, the canal is required to be able to level the travel across the isthmus of the Panama Canal to make it from the Atlantic to the Pacific. So the first set of locks that you go through are going to move you approximately 18 feet. And when you go through the locks, you're going to see that movement. You'll be on the deck. It's quite an experience to watch. And you'll sail into the Gatun Lake. The Gatun is the largest lake in Panama, and it's not real. It's man-made. And it was man-made because of the flooding that took place in building the canal and moving the water from Atlantic to Pacific or Pacific to Atlantic. And a salt brackish lake was formed called the Gatun. Then you'll go through a second level of locks in Gamboa, right in the heart and the middle of the canal, considered the jungle experience at Gamboa. And then finally, you'll go through the Pacific locks and sail under the Bridge of Americas. And the Bridge of Americas is the famed north-south highway down the western part of Central America. It's the same road that you would ride in Mexico and in Nicaragua, in Costa Rica, and in Panama. And this is the highway bridge that connects North America to South America, crossing over the Panama Canal. And you see that in picture also. You go through the last locks. You will get outstanding views of Panama City. You don't stop there, but you're going to see Panama City. And from a skyline standpoint, everyone that has ever taken Panama Canal with me has always remarked they had no idea how big Panama Canal or Panama City was. The skyline is the largest in South America. Largest, tallest buildings in South America are in Panama. And if you compared it to all the cities in the Western Hemisphere, Panama City would be number 5. In terms of height of buildings. Quite interesting in terms of seeing Panama. Next. Another day at sea. Coming out of the Panama Canal, we're now in cooler Pacific waters. At this time of the year, a big portion of this will be at a time when the whale migration is taking place, a little farther north than this, but whales are doing the exact same thing, and I always joke about this. Whales are doing the exact same thing that the Carnival Spirit is doing. It's repositioning to Alaska. And so a good chance of seeing that. Next day. Then we go to Punta Arenas. Punta Arenas is in Costa Rica. Costa Rica is lovely. You have a full day in Costa Rica. You can get to San Jose for the day. It is possible from a shore excursion standpoint. There's also very good shore excursions on the west coast of Costa Rica, many jungle adventures. You can take jungles you can travel into the rainforest and see the cloud forest and see a lot of exotic animals, especially the monkeys and the parrots and exotic birds. Costa Rica, quite beautiful, has more wildlife in Costa Rica than any other place per capita in the Western Hemisphere. Very biodiverse in terms of its animals. Quite an excellent day in Punta Arenas. Next. Then we have some more days at sea. We're positioning now into what is considered the Mexican Riviera, coming out of Costa Rica and Central America. Panama is, of course, Central America also, and we have some days at sea. And next. And then we go to Cabo San Lucas. And Cabo is at the very southern tip of the Baja Peninsula. You're north of Mazatlan and Puerto Vallarta here at Cabo. Cabo is a very international destination. Very different than Cancun or Cozumel. This is a very sophisticated jet set destination. This port does not have a pier. They don't want a pier. you will tender in at Cabo San Lucas, and they view that as a status situation in terms of the exclusiveness of Cabo San Lucas. You have a full day here, lots to do. The shopping is outstanding, and the food is really, really good in Cabo San Lucas. And the beach activities, water activities are also quite lovely in Cabo. Next. Now we do more days at sea. We're on the west coast. You'll have a number of scenic sightseeing of the mountains, some of the Sierras in your travel days here, and now principally the United States. Next. And then you arrive on day 18 in Seattle. So again, I want to bring to your attention, you've traveled one night in Biloxi, you've boarded a ship in Mobile, and you have traveled for 16 nights on the Carnival Spirit. Overwhelmingly, the passenger base is going to look like any night at Lake Sumter Landing or Spanish Springs or the new Eastport. That's what you're going to see on this ship, which makes it great as this special one-time cruise. When you arrive in Seattle, as I said, transfers will meet our group, and you will transfer to your choice of hotel, either the downtown or the Renton hotel on day 18. On day 19, again, the comprehensive sightseeing is done in Seattle. There's a very good village that has an island, a native village in the Puget Sound off of Seattle called Tillicum. And they do a wonderful bake dinner, an outdoor dinner with traditional entertainment. That is the possibility of a really good choice. Also, while you're in Seattle, I always recommend visiting Mount Rainier. It is a beautiful extinct volcano, and the mountain experience, especially for us in Florida and in the South, is a wonderful experience. But there's so much to do and see in Seattle. If you're a wine drinker like me, south of the city, within 20 miles, you're in some of the best vineyards in the country, rivals of Sonoma and Napa. On day 20, the trip comes to an end. You have transfers. By the way, that middle picture is Mount Rainier that you're looking at from SeaTac Airport. That's how close it is. And you're transferred to the airport and you fly home. David was talking about the possibility of air. Once upon a time, this trip would have been very difficult because the airlines said, oh no, if you don't fly round trip, you're going to pay the same thing for one way that you do for a round trip. Those days are gone. And what brought those to an end is technology. And now you can book air, and basically you can do anything you want, anytime you want, anyhow you want. And this trip benefits from that because when David and I are doing this meeting, you can do airfare for approximately $200 one way between Seattle and Orlando. I believe Alaska Airlines, I'm not sure, but I believe Alaska Airlines still even has a nonstop between Florida and Seattle, but lots of good choice, and air is very affordable on this destination. Next. Reservations can be made $699 for your deposit, then final payment. You make your reservations 24 hours a day online. You can't call to make reservations. You do it online in a booking form. It's very easy. That code is showing you that QR code, the little thing with all of the ziggly lines and dots. You just put your phone on it and a yellow highlight will come up and you touch it and the file for the booking form will open right away. You can do that. If you don't want to write down that page where this trip is, all you have to do is type in www.happening.travel. And the Travel Club's page will come right up. And right at the very top of the page, it gives you a sort trips by type and destination. Just touch Panama Canal and you're able to go right in to see this flyer. And I highly recommend you do that because they have a tremendous amount of detail on this trip in descriptions of the day by day and of the ship and pictures of what you do. Lots of detail. I recommend that you go in and look at that. Next. So that's the summary of the trip. The big features, as I've told you, is great time to go, spring, March 28th to April 16th, 2027. The Carnival Spirit is a great choice because it becomes a carnival cruise created for a different guest base that's going to be on the ship. And that guest base are people from the villages and other communities like it. And the other big note is value because this is a repositioning cruise. They don't do this every 2 weeks, they don't go back and forth. This is to move the ship from Mobile, Alabama to Seattle, Washington. And they have to do it. As a result, terrific value for all of the Travel Club members. So, David, that's a summary. And if you have anything you want to ask about or anybody else, I'm happy to help or whatever you'd like me to do.
Yeah, did anybody have any questions or anything about the trip or anything like that, the travel club in general? I don't see any questions from our YouTube viewers. Anybody here in chat? Go ahead, Ron.
I'm unmuting myself. Yeah, I have a bunch of questions. I don't want to dominate the thing.
No, that's why we're here.
The Hampton downtown and it's close to the Space Needle. Is that in the downtown area that was renovated along the waterfront?
No, yes and no. The big renovation that took place that the city, state, and federal government got involved in was really the renovations that took place about 3 blocks from Puget Sound. And millions was poured into that project. Alaska Way was renovated, the pier and the ship terminals were renovated. But a significant amount of renovation has also taken place in downtown Seattle around the Space Needle and the Performance Arts Center, the Performing Arts Center, etc. The Hampton is in the downtown area, a number of blocks from Alaska Way. So yes and no. There's been renovation in the area, which is good. And if you go in and read the reviews on the hotel, you'll find it's quite good. Okay. It's a limited service hotel, and I will tell you, if you have specific desires to do something more than a good first-class limited service hotel, a limited service hotel basically shortcuts or substitutes lots of personnel working in the hotel for limited service. They can provide a bit higher quality on the accommodation, but at better value. And so the Hampton brand does that. The Comfort Inn, the Comfort Suites do that, etc. Lots and lots of the brands are going to this. The problem in Seattle, generally in the downtown area, is it is quite expensive. So there are a number of major, very famous flags meaning hotels in downtown Seattle. If you have one that you absolutely would like to stay at, request that of David and see what the travel club can do for you. However, I just point out pretty quickly the price increases significantly. The Hampton Inn, as an example, in downtown is probably in the neighborhood, I'm guessing because I don't know this, but probably in the neighborhood of, even that Hampton is probably in the neighborhood of $180 to $200 a night. Limited service. That's for this kind of hotel brand, that's pretty high. When you get into the full service hotels, and there's some beautiful ones, you're easily going to get into the mid 300s to mid 400s in Seattle. That's just the way the city is. But if you're interested in that and you have specific kinds of places that you want to stay, just because the travel club's doing this on the group doesn't mean that you have to be locked into it. So
I'm sure that the Hampton is sufficient.
Yeah.
Along those lines, is there enough activities in our itinerary that a couple of days is enough, or should we expect to spend another day there on our own?
That's really up to you. There's always a lot to do in Seattle. So if you want to stay more, we can extend your stay and get you extra nights in the hotel with transfers to the airport. If you have not been to the city before, you may want a couple extra days. Our sightseeing will give you a good comprehensive tour, so you'll see the important sites. Um, but if you want to stay longer, you can absolutely let us know, and we can get you a longer stay and even help suggest some things to see and do if you'd like to do that.
The
Okay.
3 days, to the heart of that question too, I agree with what David just said. 3 days and 2 nights with Seattle sightseeing is sufficient.
Good.
It's enough time to get a good taste of the city, have a couple, 2 evenings of nice dinners. Everyone's going to want to go to Alaska Way and do some kind of fish house for dinner. And you might want to do something scenic. The Space Needle has an outstanding restaurant at the top. And so a second great dinner with the Seattle sightseeing is enough. Now, there's many, many, many more things to do. But extending your time to do that, might want to, rent a car in terms of doing that to get out. Very good national parks are within the day. The Washington Ferry does the Puget Sounds and the San Juan Islands. There's just a tremendous amount to see and do, but you have to start to add days to be able to do that. The 3 days, 2 nights will be very comfortable for a very good taste of Seattle.
I think that will do.
Yeah.
Just a couple other questions. In Costa Rica and Cabo San Lucas, are the shore excursions through Carnival?
Through Carnival depends. I generally they're through the cruise line. Sometimes I have escorted where the organization organizes the shore excursions, but that requires a relatively large number of guests to do that. No safety issues. You're not going to miss a ship, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. None of those things are true. But in general, you should plan that you'll do it through the cruise line. Cabo San Lucas is not a particularly great shore excursion port. In general, this is a very general observation. I don't think the sightseeing is particularly outstanding in Cabo San Lucas. So as a result, what they're really known for, which is the city and the dining and the shopping, you'll be able to do that right off the ship. So I just tell you in general, Cabo is that. Costa Rica is different because in Punta Arenas, I've been to Punta Arenas many times. There is a boat that does a sightseeing lunch cruise. Well, I shouldn't say sightseeing. It is a lunch cruise. It's a multiple deck boat that is a beach lagoon kind of experience on the Pacific that is fantastic. That is an excursion that I would highly recommend. They'll have multiples in Punta Arenas. The ship will have multiple natural tours into the cloud forest and into the jungles. The only way you can do that is that you take a shore excursion, because you can't do that from the ship. You can get to San Jose in under a couple of hours and see the capital if you want to do that. And then you're going to see the main valley of Costa Rica, have a little bit of jungle experience. You can see the crocodiles, etc. But again, that would require a shore excursion to do that. So Cabo and Punta Arenas are completely different. You don't need the tours in Cabo San Lucas. You do need the tours in Punta Arenas.
Okay. Well, what I want to do in San Lucas, in Cabo, is side-by-side ATV trail rides.
Yeah, okay, that's
which
right.
is big there.
That's right. Exactly right. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, if I can interject one thing along the same lines. I know we took a day trip with y'all, and the information as to where we met you and the time and all of that was given to us just a couple of days ahead.
Yeah.
When you're doing a cruise kind of thing like this, once we would give you the deposit, does the cruise line then know that we are passengers, and can we start to book excursions and drink packages and Wi-Fi and all those things that we might want to do ahead?
Yes, of course. As soon as you deposit, we confirm everything with the cruise line. And when we send you our invoice, it will have your cruise line booking number on it, so you can go directly into the cruise line system and start shopping those items.
Okay.
Absolutely. We get that to you as soon as everything's confirmed.
Thank you.
Do you want to ask this or not? Okay, I relinquish the floor.
Right.
Did anybody else have any other questions today?
Yes, we do. And,
Sure thing.
and unfortunately, we got in late, so maybe you've covered this.
It's all right.
What is the price of the cruise?
It depends on which category you book. It starts at, pardon me, my coffee is worn off. I believe it starts at $13.99.
Yeah, David, are you able to look at
the
page? Yeah. Why don't you give the outside and then the balcony on?
Yes, sorry.
And the price that David is talking that the travel club has arranged with Carnival includes everything. So it's going to, just as a recap, it's going to provide transfers out of Florida to Biloxi. It'll include the accommodations at the 4-star IP casino resort in Biloxi and the overnight, the transfers to the ship in Mobile, the cruise, of course, all of the port taxes and fees. Then when you arrive in Seattle, it'll include the transfers off the ship to your hotel, the 2 nights hotel, the sightseeing in Seattle, and the transfers to the Seattle airport.
So yes, inside cabins do start at $13.99. I was correct. Balconies or ocean views start at $18.29, and balconies start at $23.79. Of course, we can shop any category you would like. If you're not sure which cabins are in which part of the ship, a fantastic resource that I recommend for any cruise line you could possibly be going on is a website called Cruise Mapper. They have deck plans of every ship that exists in the world, so you can see exactly which cabins are in which categories, on which decks, and that way when you fill out the booking form, you can give us those requests after you fill out the booking form for exactly what you'd like, so we can check the availability of those cabins.
Are there any suites available? Do you know?
We can check that for you. There are on the ship. It would just be based on the availability of the ship. So we can absolutely check that. Once you submit your booking form, as I said, if you reach out to us, we'll check all that and verify everything, verify pricing before we process any deposits or take any of your money. That way you know you're getting exactly what you're getting, what you're paying for it.
I escorted on the Carnival Spirit in Alaska for an extended number of runs of cruises, and the cruise line was very gracious to assign me in a suite. And the suites are good on the Carnival Spirit. I know for sure that they are available and they're accessible to David. One of the things I want to point out, I laughed when David, because I wasn't quite sure. When David told me the balcony rate at $2,400 approximately, that balcony, including everything, is $123 a day per diem. I live, in my experience of all over the world, I live in a per diem, meaning how much is this costing per day? Pretty inclusive. This trip is obviously pretty inclusive. That balcony cabin for Panama Canal is $123.60 a day. It tells me everything I need to know. I mean, it's really, David, really, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
It costs me that to go out to lunch and dinner.
And what Carnival ship is it?
It's the
Carnival
Spirit.
Spirit.
The Spirit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
What was the name of the what was the website again, David, that you said to check the rooms in?
Cruise Mapper. So cruise like a ship, mapper like a map you would read to find a place, and fantastic resource. Even as a travel agent, the deck plans on the official websites, as I'm looking at them, are not always very clear. So I frequently reference Cruise Mapper when trying to answer questions for people when they're asking about various categories. It's a very, very good resource.
Thank you.
And what's your position on getting in any room that they assign us in a certain class?
I'm not very picky when I travel. I'm frequently very happy with an inside run of the ship. However, this is one of those itineraries, just because of the Panama Canal itself, that I would recommend at least an ocean view or a balcony, because the views as you're traveling through Panama, you're going to be on deck a lot for it, but it's a great view from your room if you have a view as well. Um, but yeah, that's it, it's all personal preference. I don't care about part of the ship. I actually like the rocking motion, so you can put me on top deck at the front of the ship because I will sleep like a baby. But it's very much dependent on personal preferences.
Every time I have been through the canal, I've been in a balcony. Um, Now, being the escort, obviously, I'm not really paying for the experience, so I never spend somebody's money ever. But a balcony, this is one of the itineraries. You know for sure there's one day on this cruise where you're going to love your balcony because you're going through 3 locks and you have direct access. Now, everybody will be able to see everything in the canal from deck space. It's just like in Alaska. But like Alaska, this is one of the places where a balcony can benefit you. If you're not comfortable with the crowds on decks, you have your balcony. And the balcony experience on the locks, you're going east to west on this itinerary. You're coming in the Gatun locks from Cologne out of the Atlantic, crossing west to the Pacific. But the 3 locks and the Bridge of Americas, it makes no difference on which side of the ship you're on because you're going to have the same experience of the locks, seeing the locks fill, raising the ship, lowering the ship, coming in and out of the locks, the doors closing, other ships coming into the locks. It's going to be the same experience. So I think balconies are worthwhile, to be honest with you.
Regarding the locks, we have done a Panama some years ago before the new canal was built. Do we know before ahead of time if we'll go through the old one or the new one?
Not this far in advance. That is possible. Generally, I've seen notice statements starting at 60 days for that. The reason why generally you don't know is it depends on how heavy the traffic is.
Okay.
If the traffic is not heavy, it is the newer development. It just depends on how busy the canal is. And you did all the way across, or you did a partial?
We did. We started in San Diego and ended in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
On a Holland ship.
Yeah. And how long ago was this?
Probably 15 years ago.
Okay. And see, to be honest with you, and I have absolutely no idea. I'm learning of this, obviously. I just continue to put the exclamation point on this. The value of this cruise 15 years later is just
it sounds fantastic. Okay, now we are not members, so
you have to be a member of the travel club. It's $24 a year, and
per person.
Per person. Yeah.
Okay.
We can easily process that when you book, so you don't have to fill out the separate booking form. When you book this, we would process your membership alongside your deposit as just one payment. As an active member, you can book as many trips as you'd like while your membership is active. So if you become a 2026 member, you have until December 31st to book as many trips as you'd like. They can depart in 2027, 2028. It doesn't matter. You have to be an active member when you book. So that's a good incentive to rack up some planning of the future for sure for some of our trips.
Okay, so the $24 per person is per calendar year.
That's correct.
Okay, and what's the down payment?
For this one, I just had that in front of me, but that is $6.99 per person.
Per person. Okay. All right. Okay. Any other questions? All righty. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else have any other questions?
I guess so, because at booking time, you also, we have the opportunity to buy our travel insurance.
Yeah, we provide insurance through a company called Arch Roamright. I use them because they're a very comprehensive company. Both the cancellation coverage and the health coverage are very thorough, which I appreciate.
Who are they?
It's called Arch Roamright. On the page for the trip, there is a collapsible menu that shows you the coverage grid because it's based on how much cancellation coverage you'd like and your age for what the cost is for policy. but it also gives you the breakdown of what is covered. Even though their standard insurance has fantastic coverage if you have to cancel for illness, injury, terrorist attack, natural disaster, et cetera, et cetera. They also have a cancel for any reason policy, which will give you up to 75% of what you've paid to the trip back if you just decide not to go, or they'll cover 100% if you have to change because of a work schedule change, which most of our travelers don't have to deal with, but some do, so it's always an option. But the health coverage, which is very, very important, is also thorough. You get, actually, I have it right in front of me. I can tell you. So even on the standard insurance, you have $25,000 in accident and sickness, medical expenses, $500,000 for emergency evacuation if you need to. There's dental coverage, there's lost baggage coverage, there's misconnection expense coverage. So it's a very thorough plan, very comprehensive.
But it's also, I've seen the price matrix. It's priced by the amount of coverage you want and our age. So it's a sliding scale.
Yes, and that coverage is specifically just for the cancellation amount. The health coverage is the same no matter how much cancellation coverage you get. So if you, like, I have travelers with us who have annual policies through like Allianz and stuff, which also has great cancellation coverage. But I can offer a plan that's just the trip delay and health coverage for those folks if they want it to supplement what's offered in their annual plan. So there's lots of ways to look at the insurance, and lots of ways to work with it. So yeah, the health coverage is the same no matter what. If you don't have alternate coverage, because like my credit card has some cancellation protections for travel as well. But it's always good to have that health coverage no matter what, because you're going to be traveling internationally. And unless you have one of those rare military plans, generally any medical expenses you get outside of U.S. territory is not going to be covered by your insurance. So having the travel insurance helps with that.
Okay, but is it my understanding that if we do not elect a policy or at booking time, we are locked out of it?
It's not that you're locked out. It's that if you book it at time of booking and if you have pre-existing medical conditions, the insurance will still cover any medical expenses that arise. If you wait and you have a medical condition that pops up and then you buy the insurance won't cover any treatments related to that after that fact.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I think I just have one more question. Is everything done online? There's no phone number to talk to anybody?
You can, sorry, my puppy's wanting attention. You can absolutely call with questions. Just for security reasons, because our phone system links through cell phones, we won't take personal information like credit card information on the phone. And that is for your protection, because cell phones are basically radios. Anybody can listen in on them. So we don't take that information over the phone, only online.
And David, what's the travel club's phone number?
The travel club, the easiest one for in the villages, since some folks still have landlines, is 352-900-1101.
1101.
That's correct.
352-900-1101.
That's correct.
Got it. Okay.
And if you are in the villages and you get the Villages Daily Sun, I highly encourage you to look at the Sunday travel section.
I did. That's where we found this.
Yeah. The phone number's in that, by the way.
Oh, okay. All right.
And was there anything else?
No, I think we're done.
Well, thank you everybody for joining, and everybody who will be watching afterwards online. Again, if you are watching after the live and you have any questions, feel free to email them. You can email us at info@happening.travel, or you can call us at the phone number we just mentioned. Our office hours are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can also text that number, which sometimes outside of office hours, we're able to get back to you even when we're not working via text, depending on the question. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.